Hello everyone, Zoro here, and did you know that not everybody watches the Pokemon anime? Yeah, big shocker, kinda took me by surprise too. I just thought everybody on planet Earth was a hive mind and had the same exact likes and dislikes, but apparently not. So today I figured I would make a video centered around 10 thoughts or misconceptions that somebody would believe if they're either a casual fan or just don't watch the Pokemon anime at all. I'm gonna be explaining why some false information that some believe to be true is wrong. Things such as people saying Sun and Moon aren't canon, or Ash is a weak trainer. If you haven't sold your soul to the Pokemon anime like I have, these may not be as big of a shock to you. But if you aren't a fan, the truth may surprise you. I hope that by the end of this video, you're able to use some of your newfound knowledge to correct other people you see throwing around some of these. Speaking of which, let's get started with our first misconception, which is Ash never evolves his Pokemon. This is one of the most common misconceptions about the Pokemon anime out there, and honestly, it's flat out wrong. First of all, this is the total number of Pokemon Ash has ever had, all the way up to the latest episode of Pokemon Journeys. 54 Pokemon starting from Pikachu to Farfetch'd, and 28 is the number of Pokemon he's evolved. That's around 52%, but when we take into account the Pokemon that were either fully evolved when he caught them or straight up can't evolve further, that number becomes 40. 74% of the Pokemon Ash has caught have evolved or are in their strongest state, but that doesn't really matter. This idea doesn't take into account a fundamental difference between the video games and the anime. In the games you have a lot to worry about, but it's usually more math related. In the anime, Pokemon are more than just a defining number. Pokemon like Ash's Buizel, Rowlet, Bulbasaur, and obviously Pikachu don't need to be fully evolved because they can be just as strong or even stronger than evolved Pokemon through the right training, which is the perfect segue into the next misconception. Ash doesn't train his Pokemon. This is another weird misconception that you literally would not believe if you actually watched the Pokemon anime. There are plenty of times where Ash has trained his Pokemon, and his training doesn't just involve battling. He actually gets into the nitty-gritty, whether it's training a specific attack or just general training. We've even seen specific arcs or episodes dedicated to Ash training his Pokemon. For example, in Sun and Moon, Ash trained Rockruff to learn Rock Throw, and later after it had evolved, they trained with Tapu Bulu. In XY, Ash and Greninja had an entire arc dedicated to them training and perfecting Satoshi. I can't do that. In Diamond and Pearl, Ash trained to control Infernape's Blaze. In AG, he and Swellow perfected Aerial Ace. Even in Journeys, which has been heavily criticized for its lack of on-screen training, we saw a tidbit of Ash training with his entire team. So yeah, Ash does train his Pokemon. He wouldn't be such a great trainer if he didn't. The third misconception is Ash always releases his Pokemon. Now this one could also be worded as Ash always releases the good Pokemon, but I think we need to redefine what it means to release a Pokemon. For example, the only Pokemon that I think Ash straight up released are Butterfree, Pidgeot, Lapras, Greninja, and Naganadel. As far as we can tell, Ash has no way to reach these Pokemon. The only way he can ever see them is by random chance, like when he reunited with Lapras for an episode in Johto. Others like Primeape, Squirtle, Charizard, and Goodra are different cases, because they're in care of different trainers, and if he wanted, Ash could bring them back at any time. Ash brought Squirtle and Charizard back on many occasions. Goodra returned for the Kalos League. Even when Ash released Gliscor, it came back for the Sinnoh League and ended up staying with Ash afterwards. Even then, for those Pokemon that don't currently reside with Ash, Oak, or Kukui, they all had a reason to part ways with Ash. Charizard wanted to get stronger, so Ash had him stay at the Charcific Valley. Squirtle wanted to rejoin the Squirtle Squad to help protect people from fires. A noble cause. Same with Greninja, it wanted to protect the people of Kalos, and even if that release is considered cringe, it's what Ash's Pokemon wanted. I honestly think it's a big testament to how great of a person Ash is that he's willing to let his Pokemon do what they want. So no, he doesn't release many of his Pokemon. In fact, Ash never released anyone between his journeys in the Orange Islands and Kalos. Number 4 is Ash never wins. Now it's time to dispel the logic that Ash Ketchum is a bad trainer, because once again, saying Ash never wins is wrong. In fact, overall, throughout his journeys through Kanto, the Orange Islands, Johto, Hoenn, the Battle Frontier, Sinnoh, Unova, Kalos, and Alola, he has a pretty great win percentage. In his journey through Kanto and the Orange Islands, he took part in 41 battles. He won 28 of them, lost 12, and tied in one of them. That means he had a 70% win rate in Kanto. I'm not going to go through all of them in depth, but in Hoenn and the Battle Frontier, he won 75% of his battles. Sinnoh was actually 65%, and that's surprising considering a lot of people consider this to be a peak Ash. Same with Kalos, which might surprise you. He won 67% of the time, making Sinnoh and Kalos his worst regions for win percentage. Now obviously these statistics don't mean too much about his skill in each region, because Sinnoh Ash was obviously straight up a better trainer than he was previously, and even though in Unova he had a 75% win percentage, he's definitely stronger in Kalos, but that's a side tangent. Ash has taken part in 354 battles. He tied died in only 11 of them, and he's had 93 losses so far, and the rest he has won. That makes 250 victories, giving Ash an overall 72% win rate. Pikachu specifically has a win rate of 67%, which isn't bad at all, and that statistic could help disprove the next misconception, which is Ash's Pikachu resets every region. I actually can understand this theory a little bit. I mean, Ash's Pikachu has had some embarrassing losses here and there, Trip and Snivy, but we know that this isn't true from clues within the show. Most recently, we see Ash pretty much solo a tournament with Pikachu. Mr. Mime helps out a bit, but Pikachu did most of the work at the Battle Frontier Flute Cup in episode 8 of Journeys. Pikachu first off is shown to be a formidable Pokemon at this event, but he and Ash also use a similar strategy from the Alola League in that they use Electro Web to Slingshot to add force to their attack. Speaking of which, moves carry over. Strength seems to carry over too, and the only discrepancy, like I said before, is Black and White, where they were trying to soft reboot the series but kind of failed at the beginning. Take away that though, I feel like Pikachu's strength has been fairly consistent. Number 6. The Orange League doesn't count. Now, I get the logic with this one. The Orange League isn't in the game, so people don't think it counts as a Pokemon League win on the same caliber as the Alola League, which is sort of true. But this is all because the Orange League isn't in the games. Within the Pokemon anime universe though, this is still a regional league. It's just different than the others, and therefore it counts as an achievement. Ash went to this region, cleaned up house at their respective gyms, and then competed in the first full battle in the series against a trainer that nobody had defeated before. I can get the argument that it doesn't count as a league win from an in-game region, but it still counts as a league victory in my opinion. Also, ironically enough, the Orange League is laid out like a league from the games as well. Consider the 4 badges Ash had to get as the Elite Four, and Drake is the champion. It's a nice parallel. Number 7 is Ash's goal is to catch every Pokemon. Far too often I hear people say that Ash sucks because it's been nearly 25 years and he hasn't caught that many Pokemon in the grand scheme of things, but to be honest, does that really matter? Ash's goal might have been to catch every Pokemon at the start, but I don't think it was ever explicitly stated. One thing that's always been consistent with Ash's character is that he loves to battle, and that's what he's refined his dreams around over the years. Also, now we don't need Ash to want to catch them all, because that goal belongs to Go. And say what you will about him, but I do think it's an extremely valid complaint that with Go attempting to catch every Pokemon, a lot of catchers seem to get shafted after the episode he catches them in. If they did that with Ash, each of his Pokemon would be less significant and less memorable. Number 8. Ash is a Pokemon master. Now, this misconception really only surfaced in 2019. A lot of people thought that the day Ash Ketchum won the Alola League automatically made him a Pokemon Master. It doesn't help that on that day a bunch of news sources titled their articles something like, Ash finally becomes a Pokemon Master after 20 years, even though that wasn't true. The term Pokemon Master is an intentionally vague goal. The only hint we ever get about what it actually means is that it's more than just becoming the world's strongest trainer. That's it. This means even if Ash wins the World Coronation Series, he won't be a Pokemon Master. Even the current director of the Pokemon anime had to clarify that winning a league does not instantly make someone a Pokemon Master. Also, in another interview done all the way back in 2008, a former director of the Pokemon anime said that on the day Ash becomes a Pokemon Master, the show will end. And as we can see, the show hasn't ended. Number 9. Anime battles work in the same way as in-game battles. This is probably the most common misconception on this list, but let me explain because it does include a wide variety of things. Obviously, Pokemon anime battles are way different than the ones in the games. That's clear from just watching the show. You can't have Pokemon sit there idle in an anime series, it just wouldn't translate well. This is more or less referring to people who think that particular game mechanics like type matchups or move power or base stats matter in the anime. Not too long ago, I remember seeing some streamer who was reacting to one of Ash's Kalos League battles, and he was saying something about Talonflame using Flame Charge and how that irked him or whatever, but that's the thing. In the game, sure, you would never run that, but in the anime, you have to account for a lot of different things that make move power sort of irrelevant. Flame Charge can be strong in the anime based on things like how fast Talonflame was traveling when it hit the opposing Pokemon. This same person was complaining about Ash's Infernape using Dig and then Flare Blitz against Paul, and that's another thing to account for. In the anime, you're able to use multiple moves at the same time, making for some awesome combo moves. I'm not gonna say that the battles in the anime are objectively better, because really this kind of stuff would take away from the fundamentals of the game, but I wish people could recognize the differences, especially the competitive battlers. Move power, stats, and evolution stage don't really matter in the anime. Type matchups do sometimes, but they aren't a deciding factor. This is another fundamental misunderstanding of the Pokemon anime. And for the last one, Ash has to be older than 10. We've probably all seen videos titled something like, how old is Ash Ketchum? Or is Ash still 10? It's a very unique and original topic. But I'll save you from ever watching any of those videos by saying yes, Ash Ketchum is still 10 years old. If the Best Wishes series reaffirming it at the beginning wasn't enough, I hope I can explain it to you. So there are several events that happen in the anime that reference time, but the most recent one I've seen that people, myself included, were saying confirms Ash is at least 11 was Kukui and Burnett's baby in Pokemon Journeys episode 37. At the end of Sun and Moon, Burnett was shown to be pregnant, and it takes 9-ish months for a baby to be born after conception, so people are saying Ash has to be 11 now because of that, but really, he doesn't. This is because Pokemon and other long-running anime use what is called a floating timeline, and basically what that means is yes, we see time pass and we get references to actual dates, but in a floating timeline, that doesn't really matter. It's used to keep characters from aging but still having a clear progression. Ash is still 10, but he's so much more mature than he was at the beginning. This is also why we see technology become more modernized in the anime when it wasn't when the anime started. Rotom phones are a prime example of that. Also, really, at least in my opinion, I don't think Ash being or not being 10 matters. Other than that one black and white episode, they don't really reference Ash's age anymore in the actual series, because they want him to be relatable to people of all ages. Alright, yes, that's officially it for this video. Now, like I talked about before, if you see anybody throwing around some of these misconceptions, you're gonna grab them by the neck, reach your hand down their throat, and pull their organs out from their mouth. Anyway, let me know some other misconceptions that you've heard, and maybe I'll make a second part going over some more of them. Make sure to follow me on Twitter and subscribe so you don't miss another video of mine. I'll see you guys very soon.